Hello and welcome to our presentation on health and safety. My name is Scott and with me are Isabella and Anton. Today we're going to highlight health and safety in the workplace and cover an incident that took place in 2012. Firstly, I will cover the facts of the case in question. Isabella will follow me and dive into the outcome and the relevant legislation surrounding our case, and Anton will conclude with how a proactive property manager could have mitigated or eliminated the issue that had arisen. The case we have chosen occurred in 2012 and was the result of poor health and safety practices. On the 3rd of December, an Australian woman arrived from a holiday in Samoa and began the journey from the duty-free section of the airport to the international screening area. As she stepped onto the travelator, it started up in the opposite direction to which she was walking, and as she attempted to turn to get off the travelator, she fell and badly broke her hip. Subsequently, Auckland Airport were ordered to pay $21,500 in reparations for emotional harm and economic loss. Schindler Lifts were fined $20,000 and Corona Electrical were fined a total of $11,250. I'll now pass you on to Isabella to tell us why these heavy fines were dealt.
Under Section 3, Subsection 2 of the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015, the concept of reasonably practicable arises when contemplating the highest level of protection which must be supplied in terms of hazards and risks. To put this into more basic terms, the concept of reasonably practicable encompasses the idea of balancing the act of putting in place measures to avoid risk with the practicality of the measures and the costs, whether those costs be monetary or by other means. It is by this standard that not only Auckland Airport and Schindler's Lifts were found liable after investigation conducted by WorkSafe and the Department of Labour, but also the subcontractor Corona Electrical Limited. The understanding of what can be reasonable practicable can be based on four key things: the likelihood of the risk, degree of harm, what a person should know, and the availability, suitability, and cost to eliminate or minimise the risk. In terms of the case at hand, it can be seen that the likelihood of someone falling due to getting on a travelator which is operating in the wrong direction can be anticipated as fairly likely. Moving on to the degree of harm, it can be argued that there may be variable degrees at which one might be harmed, which is dependent to things such as age, mobility, and previous injuries, and so forth. For the purpose of this case, it can be seen that the degree of harm was quite severe, seeing as the victim was elderly. Although this incident can be seen as quite basic in terms of merely setting a travelator in the wrong direction, it must be anticipated that it is reasonable to assume that the person conducting the service should have a good knowledge of the machine and should take all reasonable steps to ensure that all issues are mitigated. As for the subcontractor, WorkSafe found that the company should have ensured that all workers had a good working knowledge of the machine and all safety features in order to ensure that the machine met the relevant standard and was safe to use. It was also deemed reasonably practicable to check the machine and ensure that it was going in the correct direction. For the outcome of the case, the victim was awarded $21,500 in reparations, Schindler's Lifts was fined $20,000, and Corona Electrical Limited was fined a total of $11,500 on the basis of a breach of the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015.
Hey guys, my name's Anton. I'm going to take you through how a proactive property manager could have been used to avoid or mitigate the problems in the case here. I think in the italics is really important, realising that you are managing this property, but keeping the goals of the landlord, in this case Auckland Airport, in mind. Obviously, as for the airport, they want the travellers to feel, comfortable and safe, and the airport to run smoothly. I think reacting to the situation, immediately is probably the most important thing here. This means that the contractor or the subcontractor, Corona Electrical, would be contacted immediately to fix the problem on that day. As Auckland International Airport is exposed to so many travellers, at all times of the day, it's really vital to fix the problem immediately to ensure the chain reaction of there isn't a chain reaction of events occurring. Informing the relevant parties of the incident is also important. This is include Schindler lifts as well as the airport. Reporting and recording events like this also falls under the PCBU responsibilities, of managing health and safety risk. I think taking it one step further as a proactive manager would to do a post event report, kind of stating all the facts of the situation and how they were handled. I think from there, you go straight to a risk assessment. Both the international, who is the PCBU, and Schindler. I go assess other travelators around the property as well, to ensure their risk measures in place there as well, so the situation doesn't repeat again. Obviously, another responsibility of the PCBU is to investigate the incident. I think it's important to eliminate a hazard or risk before it's even occurred. Identifying how to reduce risks is just as, or even more important than knowing just how to respond to an event. I've just written a few key mitigating processes down here. Obviously, and I guess the most obvious one here would be to do an extensive test that the equipment is fully functional before it's open to the public. I'd ask the subcontractors, the maintenance guys to document their work fully. This will ensure that liability is kind of not solely on the airport, as well as updating future subcontractors of the works that have been done. Documentation allows for fluidity of maintenance. For some reason, if the primary subcontractor couldn't complete the work, someone else could come in and fill in. Stated before, would obviously do a risk assessment of other equipment around the property, travelators, bag carousels, all that kind of stuff. The ones that are exposed to largely to the public. I'd say relating back to section 3.2 of the reasonably practicable. What a person should know, or more specifically what the public should know. I think that should be addressed. Maybe a larger emphasis should be around the moving parts, which are a potential risk for old travellers such as this case, but also younger kids. Finally, a proactive property manager doesn't just fix one problem. They plan and foresee future risks as well. So don't treat this as an isolated event, rather a chance to improve health and safety procedures, of other property plan and equipment around the property. This will reduce the same type of event happening, but in a different piece of equipment. I think this reiterates the importance of safe practices on the property, ensuring Section 3 of the Health and Safety at Work Act has been followed in its entirety. In all, it's unfortunate that the injury has occurred. However, there are easy fixes and positive learnings to ensure there are no repeat events. Strong systems and procedures, stated above, put in place by a proactive property manager will definitely, benefit the landlord and the public.
So that concludes our presentation on health and safety. We hope that you have learned a little bit about the case itself, the relevant laws surrounding health and safety at work, and how a property manager could respond to the situation in question. Thank you very much.